Well, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Kyle. What do you think? Should we work on this? I can't even remember how I got this tractor. I do remember where it was and what the seller looked like. Did I get it for $100, 50 bucks? I don't know. But I got it not running, and I remember when I got it home, I just bridged the gap on the solenoid and I mowed my lawn with it. So whatever it was a pretty good deal because it runs. So I do have some solenoids, some extra ones, so we should have no problem with parts. And I mean, the thing's in nice shape. This is a bit of a problem, but yeah, let's get to work on this thing. I think it'll turn into a pretty nice tractor. Another mower in the shop and another dead battery. It's pretty much how every story starts, but we'll get it charged up here. I did hook up my jump pack to the battery. Couldn't get anything at the time. This was a couple days ago. I jumped the starter directly and could barely get this engine to turn. Now, like I said, I did cut my grass with this, so this thing should start. So I'm wondering if it's hydro locked, so I'm going to get the spark plug out now, and we'll take a look at what's going on in the cylinder. That's pretty loose. It's very wet. And it smells like gasoline. So yeah, I think we're a little hydro locked here. I'll set you up on the stand. I'll try to crank over the engine and see if we spray out a bunch of gasoline. That might be fun. Oh, well, at least it cranks over now. Not very well. So I gotta check on some of these connections down here, but that's spun pretty slow. Could be that this battery is just really dead, but it doesn't seem like we're necessarily hydro locked, but certainly there's a lot of gas in the top end of that. Well, the spark plug that I took out of here was this brand new Autolite 64, you know, sort of the larger kind, but I think it's supposed to have an RC12YC in it, so I don't know. I'm gonna throw a used one in there. First, we're gonna check for spark. I mean, I know I ran this thing, but it's acting a little different now, so we'll see if you can see it. I'm going to check for spark too. Here we go. Yeah, we have spark. Doesn't look amazing, but it's there. I'm not spinning too fast, so. Alright, I'm going to check the connections. The battery connections are good. The connection on the starter's good. So I'm just going to look into some other things, see if we have anything loose. Okay, we have that new used spark plug in there. I got the battery charger on dim the lights mode. So let's see if this starts up now. The only thing I'm noticing and remembering is that apparently this has a good solenoid because the key switch and everything is working. I thought it didn't, so that's a bonus. We're moving along here. See how it... Yeah. That's not good. That starter seems like it's done. Of course, the shroud is unbolted here, so it's just sitting on here. But check this out. That looks like a brand new starter, doesn't it? I don't know. That shouldn't be that bad. I have other starters, that's not the concern, but look at this thing. It looks brand new. Get this starter removed here. seems fine to me. That works great. I don't know, maybe this thing wasn't cranking because of how dead the battery is. I'm not sure. But I don't think there's anything wrong with this starter. It seems to be acting brand new. Alright, I took the spark plug out again. I just wanted to run the starter, you know, just to see if it can work even with the spark plug out. And here's what I noticed, because I just tried it. If I take my finger and plug the spark plug hole, like just to check compression, it instantly bogs down the starter. This is even with my battery jumper up to 25 amps. Or not, what? Oh, it's not, no, it's on 150 amps. This is on engine start mode, okay? Watch how bad this starter does. So here we go, we'll crank. Look at, that's just barely covering the hole. So I'm pretty convinced this starter is shot, even though it looks great. So let's swap it out, see if that makes a difference. We have an older, crustier looking starter on. Let's see what it does. The spark plug is still out. Still doesn't like that. Okay. It's gonna be hard to check compression with the starter not working. But the flywheel, like, it's not that bad. It's a little tough. I don't know. It feels really pretty normal to me. I guess it's good. I wonder if the belt is seized. Hear that? That's coming from the mowing deck. Here, let's check under there. Might as well take a look at the valves, right? See if we can notice a compression release bump. Yep. I believe I'm seeing it there. Like right, there's a little movement there, and then it goes down. That could be compression release. So maybe the compression release isn't broken. That seems pretty good. That seems pretty good. I'll check those, but I think we're looking good. So they're way too tight. Like, this is like 1 thou, and that's about all I can get in there. But tighter valves will give you less compression. So if I back these off, the engine's going to have more compression. So I don't know what's going on there. Obviously I could run a compression test, but I need a good starter to do that. So I'm just, you know, trying to figure this out as we go. But yeah, not sure what to do about the valve adjustment. Okay, hopefully you can see under there. I think I might have been onto something with this pulley and belt. So I'm going to turn the flywheel by hand. Again, there's no spark plug in. This is with the parking brake on, and there's not enough slack in that drive belt to actually disengage it. So I think that's what I'm battling. Yeah, weird stuff. That's the deck. Anyway, I think that's our problem. Not a starter problem, not a compression problem. We have a load on right now, and we're not able to disengage this belt, so the engine's trying to spin over with basically a load on the transmission. So gotta figure that out, and we'll go from there. Okay, this is going to sound like an overly simplistic solution to this, but I think the only problem is that the parking brake, or the brake in general, isn't being pushed down enough. So when I put on the parking brake, it like doesn't engage the brake enough, basically. So let me try this again. I got the cover on, got the spark plug back in. See if this spins over better. Nope. Still really struggling. All right, I don't know. Mess with this another day, I think. It's a couple days later. I charged the battery for that entire time, and I just tightened down the connections. And then I went to give this just a little try. I was kind of thinking that I should be looking for a bad ground, but I went ahead and turned the key, and it turned over pretty good. So let's give this a shot here. It might start. I sprinkled a little gasoline down the intake. Let's see what happens here. Okay, well that horrible sound was definitely just plastic. Oh wow. Yeah, let's I know YouTube doesn't like it when I do this, but guys, it's just for a couple seconds. Sometimes I've run it for a minute or so. It's gonna be fun. Let's give that another try. Wow, that was loud. Alright, so the engine runs really good. Just had to overcome some massive backfiring, and I got to figure out why the shroud was, well, I know why that shroud was rubbing. It was not bolted down, so we'll bolt down the shroud. It is charging the battery, so that's good. So that was kind of a lot of diagnosis for nothing. I think it was really just, honestly, the positive was loose. This was fine, but I did crank this down a little bit. Not even that bad. But I might as well clean up those connections and put this new starter back on. And, this thing runs great. Definitely no issues with the carb. So we'll get the shroud put back on and make sure that it drives and mows again, which it did last time I used it. So it should be good. And I think one of the main projects with this is figuring out the seat. There's some ways to fix this with some clamps and things. I've never done it. It looks like someone's already tried to glue this, but I gotta look into kind of what adhesive I want to use. A lot of it, whatever it is. I'm gonna have to use a lot of it. But yeah, it's too bad because look at the seat. It's like perfect, right? Just detached. I might have a Craftsman seat or two, but honestly it'd be nice to try to save this one, so we'll see what we can do. What else does this thing need? I'll restore the deck. That should be pretty easy to just paint that black. Hit up a few spots like that. I don't think I'm going to need to do any red paint. I mean, there's a little bit of discoloration, but you put a little WD-40 on that, shine it up, it'll look good in the pictures. I don't think we have to paint this whole thing red, right? Or do we? We have some front tires to deal with too. Those like to go flat, so we'll do some ATV in that. ATF. I want to ride my quad, I guess. But yeah, pretty nice tractor. I'm glad the engine runs. That's a big plus. Don't have to do too much work there. I just installed the starter, you know, the one that looks much newer. So that's good, and it works. I tested it out. I don't know if you can see this. I found something. This is pretty sacrilegious, guys. There's a Kohler oil filter on this Briggs. Are you allowed to do that? That's kind of funny. I don't know if I've ever actually seen that. Let's get this shroud put on. We have 3 out of the 4 bolts, so that's pretty good. Yeah, so feeling a little silly that really seems like all we were dealing with from the start was a weak battery and a loose connection, but you know, that's why you come here to this channel, right? To watch me diagnose. Sometimes it's not pretty. You're probably screaming at the TV from home. It's just a loose connection. Well, you know, I was getting there. I found it. Air filter's pretty good, actually. Ugh, I mean, I usually like to replace them, but it does add up on the cost. Air filters are not cheap. Alright, we're going to need the grass screen on this. I'm sure I have something, but I'll look for that later. Just getting the air guides back on. Check the oil one more time, because I'll try to run this. I think we're pretty low. Yeah. I'll add just a splash of oil, and we'll give this a little ride. Pretty bad. Alright, so I went to start it up, and I don't know if you can hear it again. The shroud is rubbing on the fan of the flywheel, so I gotta figure that out. And the parts bins proved to be useful once again. So we have our grass screen here, and in the nuts and bolts that I have, found 4 screws for that, and also another bolt to be the 4th bolt of the engine shroud. So found a bunch of stuff here. Let's start this up again. Got the grass screen on, that 4th bolt in there, and I think what was rubbing on the flywheel was the oil fill. It wasn't slotted in the right spot, so now it's, yeah, I think it's good now. Let's give it another test run. Oh, it does okay. It's got a lot of noises going on. So the blade brake does not really work well. So we do really need to get this deck off. And the drive pulleys have a lot of noise. So some bearing is seized or some pulley is warped down there. Some idler is warped. Something is messed up under there. So we'll have to get into this. But we got a good engine. We got a good trans. We got a good mowing deck. I think we're in good shape here. This thing... this is a pleasant surprise, right? I thought it was going to be a solenoid. It wasn't that. No, why did this guy sell this thing? I think I got it for $100. It might have been less. It wasn't more. There we go. We'll let that drain for a while, but I'm glad we got it pretty good and hot. We'll get the mowing deck off this now. I drained the oil. I'll add oil later. Hopefully I don't forget, right?
Yeah. And he got my tongue right here.
Starts pretty easily.
And it doesn't smoke that much. It doesn't even smoke. I wish this pocket was here right now. He's not showing up today.
I might be busy.
Watching the Yankees.
Maybe.
That is probably it.
Yankees are all done. They're trying to get new players. Wow, it's a normal part of what they do in the winter.
And then that group of players, that's to call it Yankees.
Yep.
And you're working on the Yankees.
I'm not working on the Yankees. I'll watch them. Here's the mowing deck. Looks like it's in pretty good shape. There we go. Might have just fixed the brake. That was like that. It needs to be like that. So I'll have to check on the other side of that, see why it might be bent. But yeah, we'll look into the bearings of this, make sure the bearings are good. And then we'll get this up on the chain hoist, tilt it up, and we'll inspect all the idlers and things under there, make sure everything's in working order. So these guys are pretty noisy, so I might pop those off and just inspect them. Belt looks decent. Everything else looks okay. And oh yeah, there it is. I can see this idler is warped. Yep, it's got a dead spot in it. So that's what's going on there. So not necessarily bearings, but yeah, we got a flat spot in that idler, so that needs to be swapped out. I don't know if I have any more of those. Might have to order that part. Get you some better light here. See that flat spot? It's like eaten through. That's pretty bad. So yeah, this thing must have seized up or something, and that belt just kept spinning on that. I found that it doesn't really eat up the belt too bad. It just really just melts right through this plastic. So, all right, this is one with one of these spacers, so you need that. Bearings don't sound great either, so yeah, it's pretty noisy. All right, let's see if we can look one up, or maybe in my parts bin I have one. We have two options from the parts bin. Nothing's whisper quiet, but this one's quieter. And it's not warped. Here's a warped one. It shakes pretty good. And it's noisy. So yeah, I think we'll go with this. If it doesn't work, then we'll place an order. But you gotta try this one first, right? I know, I can hear it too. We're installed. Everything looks good. I think we're set up correctly here, and hopefully that's a lot smoother. Well, it's the next day, and I'd love to drive this thing around to test it out, but it has no oil in it. So I want to see if that idler pulley solved any of those problems beneath all the vibration and noise. But I can't get this Kohler filter off. It's pretty cold out today, so I'm gonna try again with the brutal method. Hopefully this one will be a little better than the last one I was working on. There we go, yeah. Not too bad. So I bought a kit for this. Air filter, oil filter, fuel filter, shut off, spark plug. $17. It's a pretty good deal, but it's not here yet. But I really do want to test this thing, so I have another Kohler oil filter, and you know, we'll just have to return the favor and put another Kohler on here. Well, I got this oil filter when I went to Tractor Supply last time. It was a damaged package, and so I think they gave it to me for a discount. And look what I also bought. This is the air filter I need for this engine, but that's real expensive from Tractor Supply. I don't know necessarily why I bought that and this one. I guess just to have on hand, but I'm not in a real rush to get that air filter on there, so I can wait for my cheap one to arrive. The oil filter, though, I can't run it without oil in here. So let's get that installed. Got a 1.5 quart measured out in here. Nice and cold, like I said, so oil is flowing pretty slow. We'll just take our time and get this done. Well, we're moving right along here. Got an oil change, got air in the tires, we've got a new idler underneath, got a battery that's charged. Let's see if it starts up. Hey, that passed the test, no problem. That trans is real good. The belt seems fine, and that idler definitely solved a lot of wild vibrations. At first it was noisy, but I think it was just the cold hydro transmission. Just needed a second to warm up. Well, I'm getting ready to work on this mowing deck, paint it. But this brake is messed up like I noticed before. And it doesn't engage, so, or I should say disengage. If you engage the blades, this is supposed to kick out so that the brake comes off of this pulley. It does it fine over here. You can see that one moving. Okay, well, not this one. So something on the bottom end of this. Get this little roller here. It's either that or something's bent. Everything's hooked up correctly because I actually have another mowing deck to compare to. Everything looks fine. Just some reason this doesn't contact, and it's really close. So I just got to figure that out, and then we're ready to restore this. So here's the brake, and nothing looks bent, but it just doesn't line up well. I mean, basically what I'm thinking of is, like, can I bend it? You know, of course it's not set up to bend that way. It's supposed to be strong that way. So I don't know, kind of thinking of heating it up and seeing if I can maybe get a bend out of it. Not really sure how to arrange this. It's probably somewhat of a bad idea. You know, and then if I'm able to heat this up and then bend it a little bit, I don't know. Do you think that'll work? If I heat it up, crank on it, maybe give it a try. The paint is chipping away here, but it's starting to get red. Glowing a bit. Get some pliers on that. Don't think it's budging. I don't know. It might not be the way to do it. Well, believe it or not, I got it. So I'm gonna do this by hand, but it basically just disengages that much, but that's all you need. So I'll show you what it does. Here's blade engaged, there's the brake disengaged. And that would allow this to spin, no brake on, and now the brake is on and the blades are disengaged. So alright, I think that's working properly. That's all put back together, so whatever little adjustment I made seemed to do the trick. Alright, should we take the spindles off, or at least these top pulleys, so we can paint this, grind it down and paint it? I don't know. Might just see what I can do with the wire wheel without doing that. Deck back inside, it's cleaned up, ground down, degreased a bit. I'm just gonna let it dry overnight, and I'll paint this tomorrow. We'll be able to see a lot better tomorrow too, so we'll see if we can fix the tires tomorrow. Maybe we'll do a little other painting. Gotta try to investigate more about the seat before I start working on that, but moving along here. It's the next day, it's Saturday, the sun is sort of out. So that's kind of nice. Still pretty cold. But I'll put you on time lapse here. Let's get the deck painted. Yep, takes 5 minutes and comes out great. It's totally worth it. Alright, hopefully the paint dries pretty well. It doesn't get all orange peely on me. Covered the tractor with a tarp here. Just because I'm doing everything inside the shed. Alright. Let's wait for that to dry. Gotta dry out this seat a little bit, so got it next to this propane heater and getting some good evaporation here. So I want to get this pretty good and bone dry before I bother to glue it down. So I'll keep an eye on this. Obviously I don't want it to catch on fire, but it's good there. But yeah, gotta get it dried up. Previously this grass deflector was on here just with a zip tie, and you know, that's fine, like it could sit on there with a zip tie, but I actually found in all my parts enough stuff. This is a brand new spring I had for a lawnmower, the discharge chute of a lawnmower, and didn't end up needing it. Was it the John Deere? It might have been the John Deere, and I just went with that rubber flap. I don't know if you remember that video. But this was supposed to be for that, and then this I had. So let's see if we can install ourselves a proper grass deflector here. Well, I got it on, but it doesn't have any spring tension. So I'll take it off. I'll try again, see if I can get it right.
Oh yeah. Wait, is it filming now?
It's filming now.
So it's pretty good. This is the one that does fix it because it wasn't working.
Yeah, I found a different spring instead of this one. I found another one. So I painted this deck with semi-gloss, and then I went over it with gloss. I had gloss black. So that is pretty shiny. I think we'll clean this up and paint this back end too. I'm starting to polish it up just a little bit, just trying to see what this is going to look like as a finished product here. And you know, I thought I had all the axle caps on these wheels here. I have these gray ones, kind of interesting, but I'm missing one over here. So since they're gray, I think I'm just going to replace them all with 4 black ones that I have. I try to keep these on hand. That and valve stem caps, because you know these things are always missing. So let's quickly replace these 3 gray ones and put 4 black ones on. So now we have 3 gray ones to put in the stash, and you know, I like to buy the valve caps. I buy them from the dollar store. They're about $1. But I have 4 here, so we'll get those on too. A lot of this stuff with tractor flipping is just so tedious, you know, it's like cleaning the headlight stuff. It's all things that really you need to do, I think. Especially in my area, people want like pristine mowers. You know, no one's really looking for like a cheap budget thing. It's kind of crazy in Connecticut. You know, so they like will question you about chipping paint and faded things, and you know, even like if the valve stems are missing their cap, you know. Yeah. So the appearance of the mower is really important to me, I think, if I'm going to sell a bunch of machines. I really have to make mine stand out from the rest on Facebook Marketplace. So that's a lot of what I do is cosmetic stuff once we get the engine and all the mechanical parts going right. And with a machine like this where the engine ran great, you know, you can spend a little extra time on the details and you have a great running engine, and the tractor could look perfect too. You know, and that thing will sell for good money. And I always figured, you know, if I have a machine for several months and if I'm not able to sell it, like over the winter, if I'm going to be keeping it on my property, I might as well be spending a bunch of time making it look as good as possible. So that's kind of what I do. So we'll just do a little bit of touch-up paint here and then on the other side, and then we have the rear of the tractor all masked off. Don't want to go too crazy here because I don't want to paint the whole dash. So I'm going to try to feather it in a little bit. Nice. I think it's time to try our hand at fixing the seat. I have a half a tube of liquid nails here. Kind of old stuff. We'll see how it is. I have as many clamps as I could find. And my goal is to run a bead of liquid nails, you know, all along here, just on various places, and then just get this thing to adhere best we can. I think there's going to be some gaps a little bit, and maybe we'll use some other product to fill those, but let's give it a try. Oh, uh-oh. I think we've run into a tube failure here. No, that was the end of it, pretty much. I wonder if that will work. We could try. Quickly turned to plan B, didn't it? Yeah, it's going to be challenging to get it to stick here and here, but I guess that's where the clamps come in. Looks pretty chaotic. I think we have a halfway decent seal right here. Not so great in this direction. Underneath, you know, again, here's pretty bad. You know. Alright, well, we'll see how this comes out. Can always just get another seat if this doesn't work, but is this painful to watch? I don't know. Won't be so bad if the finished product comes out right, so we'll see how this turns out. Well, if you can't tell from what I'm doing right here, I tried something and it didn't work. I had this sitting for about 4 days, 5 days. This was some liquid nails product. Probably better suited for wood and plywood. But it's what I had and I tried it out and it did not work. So I'm removing it right now. I'll save you the footage of me trying this out. Maybe I'll put it right here in the corner. There it is, lots of clamps. It just didn't work out. I think the product was just too old, past its prime. It didn't have any adhesive qualities left to it. You can see by the way that it's being removed right now. It's just, it's coming right up. Yeah, it's not even hard. So we're gonna, you know, take another stab at this. I have some Dynaflex. This is silicone and it's black, so you know I should be able to fill in the gaps with this a lot better than the white colored liquid nails. So yeah, this is take 2, but hopefully it's successful. All right, let's try this again. Just in case you're wondering what that hissing noise is, it's my little propane heater. So we'll try this again. Gonna lay a bead of this stuff pretty much at all the contact surfaces. But then I think I'm just gonna be filling in all the gaps with this, so hopefully I have enough with just one tube of this. Try to do this one with no clamps. I'm just gonna fill in the gaps like this. Pretty interesting right here, so I'll get you this overhead view. We're like really have to fill this crevice right here. I don't know, what do you guys think of this approach? Kind of a lot right here. I just ran out. So, yeah, I'm gonna need some more of this stuff. Should have figured as much. Well, it's the next day and I got another tube of this stuff. But this has not dried. So I think it's just so cold out. So I don't know how long it's going to take for this to set up, but it's definitely not ready for me to sit on the seat yet. But I'm about to empty a whole nother tube of this stuff in all the crevices that are up front. There's some pretty big gaps here. So I'm going to fill this up, and you know, I think the project's just sort of going to stall here until the seat is ready to be used. I think it looks good though. Pretty happy with the way it looks. And I think, you know, I could tell like it's going to stick. And it's going to look halfway decent. So I think we're just going to persevere through this. I think it's going to turn out okay. I have it all polished up. I mean, I could probably do a lot more with this, but this has been kind of tricky for me to really get these mowers to be showroom ready, even when it's really cold out. I normally don't store my mowers for the winter looking this nice, but I'm trying to do this for YouTube, so polishing it up for the camera right now. It's just gonna get stored outside or maybe under a tarp. I'll have to clean it all up again in the spring. Hard to say that we actually have the seat all finished. You know, this stuff is still real tacky, but it's warmer today, so I'm gonna try to leave it outside. I can't quite sit on the seat yet, so I had to push it outside. I'll let you hear it run, but I can't sit down on it. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna call this done. I just did a new spark plug and air filter off camera. Put in a new fuel filter as well. And you saw me do the rest of the service. So we have a new oil filter and new oil. I could go out and get a new battery for this, but this one seems to be doing okay. So this is a 2006 LT3000. Pretty popular mower. Probably a lot of them still out there right now. So I hope this video was helpful to some people who might be working on theirs. Although I didn't have too many big problems with this thing. It was pretty easy to work on. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. My name is Kyle. Please subscribe to the channel, like as many videos as you can. I'm seeing the channel grow a little bit and love to keep it going. I have plenty more tractors to work on, and you know, then we'll have the springtime. There'll be a lot more going on then, and it should be easier to paint things and clean things. So I'm already looking forward to the spring, but in the meantime, this winter, I think we have enough projects to keep us pretty busy here. So thanks again for tuning in, for all the comments you guys have been leaving. Appreciate it very much. So have a great day. We'll see you next time. Look what I had laying around. I mean, I had to piece it together. Hard bin. Do a little bit of repair work here. Lost the bungee strap, but yeah, that increased the value, huh? All right, this should be a pretty good sale in the spring.